Hey guys, what is going on? Anthony here with Pistons Talk. Hope you guys are having a great day so far. What I wanted to do in today's video was react to this article over at NBACentral.com. It says Nets, Jazz, Pistons, Clippers could show interest in Isaac Okoro. So we are going to react to this article today because I do think this is something worth talking about. Also, kind of getting into Okoro's stats last season with JB Bickerstaff and what it may take for your Detroit Pistons to land an Isaac Okoro in free agency, because the Pistons still do have some cap space remaining out of their $64 million. So let's get straight into it, you guys. So it says league sources have expressed to Write Down Lucid that the Brooklyn Nets, Utah Jazz, Pistons, and Los Angeles Clippers are teams who could be slowly, albeit eventually, brought to the table to negotiate good faith on Okoro's focused deal. It will all just take time, and unless things move at a glacier's pace, resolutions on the Okoro front will eventually come for Cleveland. Okay, that is the first quote in this article. If we do scroll down to the other section of this article, it also goes on to say that Cleveland has a limit to what they will pay Isaac Okoro, which is 100% probably the right decision if you're the Cavs. You just extended Evan Mobley. I'm sure Darius Garland wants to get paid. You have Donovan Mitchell. I don't really think that you should break the bank to keep a guy that was maybe your third, maybe fourth option on your team. Most teams probably wouldn't. And the article goes on to say right here that the belief across the league is while Cleveland would like to keep Okoro, there's a limit to how much they're willing to commit to him financially. That means the idea of facilitating Okoro in a sign and trade where Okoro is paid an amount he's happy with from a different team, while the Cavaliers receive compensation and comes into the mix. However, the issue in including Okoro in a sign-in trade for those players is Cleveland wouldn't be able to use the total amount of its new salary in a trade, complicating the situation. Now, they talked about how the situation could be complicated. I think this part of the article is probably the most important. It says Okoro's 2023-2024 salary of $8.9 million would be used for salary matching purposes. He added that a team acquiring the young forward would likely be unwilling to offer much value in a deal. If his market does not materialize, Okoro could accept a $11.8 million qualifying offer from the Cavaliers, and he would enter next summer as a UFA. So if worst comes to worst, the Cavs can re-sign him for basically what he was making during his rookie contract, right? A little bit more. I think that's really, really important to kind of note, but I want to kind of transition into the type of player he was last year with JB Bickerstaff in Cleveland and kind of go over and look at his stats over at Basketball Reference. So we have Isaac Okoro's Basketball Reference profile, if you will, up here on the screen. And just a little bit about him. He's 6'5". He's going to be 24 in January. Now, if we do scroll down to his per game stats for this season in 2023-2024, when he was 23 years old, played small forward for the Cavs, played 69 games, only started in 42 of them, played around 27 minutes a game, shot 49% from the field on 7 attempts per game, shot 39% from 3 on 3 attempts a game, where he made 1.2 of them. If you do go over to his free throws, I think that's where it's kind of like, okay, you shot 2 free throws a game, and you only made 1.3 of them, and your percentage went down to 67, almost 68%. That's where I'm kind of like, can you get it back up to the high 70s? If you can, I mean, that's something I could see some of you guys nitpicking that he's not a good free throw shooter last year, but, you know, the first 3 years in the league, he was actually like average, you could say. He did grab 3 rebounds a game, 1.9 assists, 0.8 steals, 0.5 blocks, and 0.8 turnovers and 2 personal fouls a game. And he put up 9.4 points a game. What I will say about this is, if you're kind of looking at his stats as a 23-year-old, shooting 49% from the field, 39 from three, 68% from the free throw line, and averaging 9.4 points a game. He did this as not a focal point of their offense. He did this as like maybe a fourth, maybe a third option. I think more of a fourth option personally, because you kind of look at what Cleveland had last year with Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland and Evan Mobley and all those guys. Like, Okoro was not a guy that was a number one option. He was just kind of like a glue guy, if you will, in their rotation. And obviously, he did not start as many games as he usually does, but for the most part, he's been relatively healthy, 67, 67, 76, 69 games. So still relatively young, only 23 years old, but I did want to kind of pull up his basketball reference numbers. And the other thing I did want to talk about was the Detroit Pistons cap space and why I think this matters, okay? Now, the article did state that the Cavs are in a tricky situation financially because obviously Isaac Okoro does want more money. He wants to get paid, and I think every player wants to get paid. That's not shocking to me. And I don't think it should be shocking to any Pistons fans watching this. But if you do look at the cap space for the Detroit Pistons, and I apologize about that stupid ad played, the Pistons right now have $9.4 million in cap, and they actually have the most cap space currently in the NBA. So they have $9.4 million in cap. Now, the reason why I mentioned the Pistons cap space of $9.4 million and why I think it's important to discuss is the Cavs are going to have to either sign him, they have to come to an agreement, the Cavs and Isaac Okoro, or they have to decide and make a decision, okay, we're not going to re-sign him, we're going to do a sign and trade. That's why I think the cap space matters. That's why I think it's a talking point. Because when you look at the Pistons, they have the most cap in the NBA currently. And you look at the roster, and I think this is where the conversation is going to be fun, because I know a lot of you guys have very strong opinions about every player in the NBA, and that's why I love you guys. You guys are the best subscribers out there. I love talking ball with you guys. And if we look at the active roster cap space. Say that 3 times fast. Holy shit. You look at Tobias Harris, you look at Tim Hardaway, you look at Isaiah Stewart. Here's the thing, man. I don't know who Cleveland would want. I really don't. I look at guys on this roster. They're losing a 2-3, a guy that's defensive. They're losing a guy that they can't afford to keep. Now, would Cleveland want any of the guards that we had? Would they want Jaden Ivey? I'm not sure, and I don't really know what Jaden Ivey's future holds for the Detroit Pistons. I'd like to think that he's going to stay on the roster and the Pistons try to figure out how to use him properly, because he's only 22 years old. He's still fairly young. Do they want Marcus Sasser? Which I think Marcus Sasser is a very good player. I just question where the minutes are going to come from this year, just kind of given you have Cade, you have Ivy, you have Tim Hardaway, you have Malik Beasley. Like, where is Sasser going to get his minutes? If it's at the backup point guard position, I guess that would answer my questions, but Marcus Sasser is 24 years old. He's on a cheaper deal. Maybe the Cavs would want him and some other possible pieces that the Pistons have. I'm not entirely sure, but I do think that the Pistons being linked to this and them having the most cap space still available in free agency as I'm recording this video on July 25th does matter. But as always, you guys, I really want to know what you guys think, because I'm going back and forth with this. I'm not entirely sure that the Pistons need an Isaac Okoro right now. I think defensively he would check a lot of boxes, and he's a guy that played for J.B. Bickerstaff. He's a guy that J.B. Bickerstaff is very familiar with. But I want to know what you guys think of this reporting from NBA Central saying that the Nets, Jazz, Clippers, and Pistons are interested in him. If you're Detroit, are you making an offer to Cleveland in a sign and trade proposal to land him with the Detroit Pistons? Let me know down below in the comment section. Like always, hope you guys are staying safe. Take care, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace.